Are you ready to put it all together? In Lesson 4, you will work with your own legal project to create a makeover from raw legal text to a user-friendly information graphic. Our full-day in-person workshops look like this around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Participants have created their designs. We tape their posters on the wall. Everyone presents their design and receives questions and feedback. Okay. You will miss this lively part, but you get to do it on your own time. If you take the course together with a few lawyer friends or colleagues, you can provide this sounding board for each other. In the next slides, you will see sketch designs from other participants to get an impression of what you'll be working on in this lesson. The sketch designs from participants you will see are all in Dutch. This circle diagram was made by a council with the State Department of Economic Affairs on the subject of the Dutch version of the Public Information Disclosure Act. How to respond to such requests is at the center. The next circle states who, what, when, beyond. The outer circle indicates 4 topics: relevance, information, procedure, and on the left bottom segment, various. The main text indicates the role of the State Department, the law, the tools, and the knowledge. As you see, it organizes a lot of information in 4 layers. Color coding is part of the design to create cohesion between 3 layers of information in one category. Even though you can't read the Dutch text, the image gives a clear overview. Created by a lawyer at the Human Resources Department of the same State Department on compensation for freelance contractors. A flowchart with a code of shapes resulting in the corresponding maximum hourly fees and length of the contract. This is a concept map to explore the content of a new policy on rare conditions. In this phase, it serves as a visual thinking tool for the lawyer. Later, this might evolve into a visual to share with a team of policymakers in a more polished version. This highly visual design uses icons to substitute for words. My favorite one is the time indicator on the left. Summer 2020 in the middle of a sun symbol. This example shows work in progress, the way it looks around 1 p.m. or so. Participants have different approaches. Some create multiple sketches, some create a finished design in one round. For most lawyers, this is a new way to engage with the information they live and breathe. So please have some patience and fun as you figure out what approach works best for you. This visual lays out the plan for legislative revisions, from proposal to adoption. The chosen framework is a roadmap combined with a timeline, journeying through different phases of the process. Here we look at a blueprint for the content of a report on violation and sanctions. Instead of a text-only report, this lawyer created a visually organized framework. To create your own information design, you need to choose the topic. Pick something that you frequently work on and where you can form a clear idea of your audience. Something that is not too big, not too small. As a guideline, it works best if it has a maximum of 3 pages. A blog post or an article for a magazine works well too. In addition to your legal fine print, you need to gather some basic sketch materials. A large sheet of paper or several letter-sized pages taped together. Some markers, some sticky notes, scissors and tape. Ready, set, go. You will take yourself at your own pace through the 6 steps. I will repeat some of the slides from Lesson 3 to guide you through. Pause at any point or look back at Lesson 3. In step 1, you will zoom in on your audience and their information needs. Can you think of something that is always difficult to get across, a step that they often forget, or something where they glance to the ceiling as you try to explain it? This is likely the explanation problem you want to focus on in creating your design. In the basics course, we covered mind maps as a visual thinking tool. It works very well in step 1 and 2 of the design method. In step 2, you will select the information and expertise that you identify as most relevant for your audience. In step 3, you search for the template, the visual framework that works best for the structure of the content. You can use the 6 frameworks as a place to start. Once you have a rough idea, you can search through different collections of diagrams. Remember to experiment with different frameworks. Trial and error is your best teacher. In Microsoft SmartArt, or if you have access to it in Visio, SmartDraw or in Canva. Or you can use Google. Now for step 4, your job is to put the puzzle together within the framework that you selected. As you do this, you might find that a combination of 2 frameworks is needed. For example, a timeline with color codes, or a circle diagram with a circular timeline to indicate a cyclical ongoing process. If you are on track, please skip over the next 2 slides and revisit them later. If you feel somewhat lost in the puzzle, Sol Wurman has some extra tips on deciding what fits where. Sol Wurman is a highly respected information architect for the era of information anxiety and the author of nearly 100 books. He also is the founder of the popular Technology, Entertainment and Design TED conference. These 5 rules make every information design better, whether it's in text only or in a visual format. We get very attached to our legal ways of thinking, and this gives some distance, a fresh perspective, to shift from your legal mindset into the mindset of an information designer. I recommend pondering these rules for the specific information of your project before you dive into the design process with the 6-step method of visual language for lawyers. Rule 1. Understanding is relative. People are only able to learn new things in relation to what they already know. What do you think your users already know so you can take that as a connector point for your information? Can you compare or contrast it with something familiar to them? For example, how is franchising different from owning a store? Rule 2 is LETCH. Wurman's LETCH acronym gives a useful way to organize information: location, alphabet, time, category, hierarchy. I will discuss this in some more detail on the next slide. Rule 3 speaks for itself. Rule 4 too. Rule 5 is challenging for lawyers to take in. Get rid of useless information. According to Wurman, most information is useless and will not improve the viewer's insight and understanding. People can only remember a few things in working memory at any given time. Even if you have more important and relevant things to share, the goal is insight. So you have to be smart about how to build this insight with the minimum amount of building blocks. LETCH. As Wurman says, while information may be infinite, the ways of structuring it are not. The ways of organizing information are finite. It can only be organized by location, alphabet, time, category, or hierarchy. Location. Organizing information based on space or place, such as a subway map. You can think of space as literal or metaphorical. For example, in an expression as "this idea is at the core," at grassroots level, versus with a bird's eye view, bottom up or top down. A is for alphabetical, a good way of organizing information if there's no other prevailing strong organizational structure. T is for time, as in timelines, directions, or other sequential information. C is for category, as in types of information. For example, an infographic about changes in demographics might sort data first by age, then by gender, then by income. H is for hierarchy, as in tallest to shortest, most expensive to cheapest, youngest to oldest. Is it starting to come together? Do you feel you have a logical framework and a clear placement of the most relevant information? Does it seem easy to follow along for your audience? Then you can move on to step 5 and give more attention to the visual details. What visual elements would enhance what you've going on? Color coding, dividing the information in 2 visual layers, or adding icons as visual anchor points. Check for the consistency of your visual elements. Now go back to the 6 steps. Assess where you might need to make changes. We often get asked where to find good icons. This website, OpenClipArt, has free public domain icons and clip art. The Noun project has excellent icons too. Transcend has a well-designed collection of free legal icons. And you can search for icons with a Creative Commons license. We use Common Craft for hand-drawn illustrations and icons throughout the courses for Legal Visuals Academy. Sometimes it works better and faster to purchase a set of icons to have a cohesive style. Color choice is both seductive and complex. It deserves its own course. I will discuss a few highlights to increase your awareness on how to use colors. Colors call for attention, so you need to decide where extra attention is helpful to understand the content rather than distracting. You want to use color to help with the organization of the information, for example, to indicate sameness and difference. You can also use color to indicate relationships. The meaning and interpretation has some conventions. Red is a stop sign color. Green is a green light. Green indicates start. Red indicates stop. Contrast is very important for legibility. Obviously, black and white have the biggest contrast. Combine darker and lighter tones to enhance contrast. You can squint your eyes to check for contrast or walk away from your screen to find what shows up from a distance. A large percentage of users have some form of color blindness. This website gives you more information about the topic and a clever tool to upload your image in the color blindness simulator. You've reached the important step 6. Time to get away from the drawing board and find a few people to test your design. Don't rush this part. Give it a few days if needed. If you can't think of anyone or have concerns for their response, you could decide to be your own tester first by explicitly giving yourself a role of an outsider. Step in this person's shoes. Wait at least one day and tell yourself out loud what you're seeing, what you don't get, etc. But sooner or later, the real test is out there. This is why you put in all this effort, to make others understand their legal stuff better, to help them to engage more effectively, to make better legal decisions, and to trust you as someone that is a skillful and adaptive communicator. As a final step, you can email me your design for individual feedback. Just send an image and a brief description of the audience and the medium you will use it for. Everything is confidential and I won't share examples in future training programs without your permission.